Okay, we're here with Reuben Vargas, a collector and also a builder. But I'd like to take a little bit different tack with you, Reuben. I don't want to throw you for a loop or anything, but we've all seen and heard a lot of advice with respect to what we need to look for when we're looking to select an investment grade or a classic car. But I'd like to kind of flip that over, if we could, 180 degrees, because we all know what to look for, but in some cases, looking at the flip side of that is even more important. What are the things to avoid? And I know that the hottest topic right now is American muscle. And I know that you're very experienced with this because you've not only owned and collected a lot of American muscle, but you also built it. But I know that when it comes to American muscle, there's one particular pitfall that really stands out in your mind. You want to talk about that for a sec?
Hi folks, this is Reuben from Specialty Sales Classics. Today's installment is on American muscle. One of the first things that we need to discuss about American muscle cars is the advent of the clone. What is a clone, you might ask? A clone is a vehicle that left the factory in one configuration and is now being presented to you in another configuration. The most common clone right now has to do with the three major American car companies: Chrysler, Chevrolet, and Ford. We're going to take Chevrolet for example. Car left the factory as a standard 6-cylinder, 3-speed manual transmission car. And now, when we go to look at the car, it is Super Sport badged, has a large performance V8 engine, a 4-speed, and possibly a replaced performance rear axle. Also, on a clone, a thorough clone, you would see badging on the interior that, in this case, would denote Super Sport with possibly a console. What we need to understand is that these cars, although are popular and have value, aren't the genuine article. This can be determined by a reading and internet search of the cowl tag. The cowl tag contains a series of numbers, and those numbers say how exactly the car left the factory and in what configuration it was in. Cowl tags are very difficult to modify and shouldn't be modified from a legal point of view. What we would look for on a genuine car and a genuine Super Sport is a cowl tag that has all of the information that relates to the engine, transmission, and rear axle, paint scheme, and interior scheme in the way that you see the car today. To clarify, if we had in front of us a 1970 Super Sport Chevelle, say it's an SS 396 with an automatic transmission and a 12-bolt rear axle, there is a way to decode all of those things based on the information on a cowl tag. If that car is a clone, the reading and the information garnered from the cowl tag will immediately tell you that it is not a genuine Super Sport. All of this being said, cloned cars have approximately half the value of a genuine car. And from a collector's point of view, we certainly wouldn't want to get you into a car that was presented as a genuine Super Sport, but was not that. This car can be fine, the clone of which I'm speaking, can be fine as a daily driver, as a car that can be driven without being worried about, and as a car that can be modified without concerns of ruining originality. Now let's get to a genuine Super Sport Chevelle. This car is going to have all the characteristics, all of the performance, all of the collector value that a genuine Super Sport provides. This car is the car that a real collector should be considering. Collector interest should always be determined on what you actually like. We're not going to collect a car that we actually don't want to drive ourselves. Car collection should represent the collector, that person may or may not like a Camaro, may or may not like a Chevelle. But whatever that car is, that's really where you should start. What car you decide to start with should represent your personality, should represent your likes, and should be something that maybe over the last few years you've actually wondered, should I own one of those? Could I own one of those? This is the kind of car that I would start with. To refresh all of this and what we've talked about here, we are truly concerned about clones entering the market as the genuine article. This needs to be determined before any monies are paid. We need to be certain of what we're buying, just like anything else. Watches are misrepresented, cars are misrepresented. Make sure before you pay that what you're buying is what you want and that it's genuine and will provide collector value long into the future. That's it for this installment. We'll see you next time. We're going to come up with another brand of car and we'll talk about that.